hope my breath is okay. I just,
And
when
I
I do
was
these
gonna say,
interviews.
no, I'm just kidding. I'm really joking. She's like,
Because, just talking,
the whole
it
water.
causes gingivitis. No, it doesn't. It causes.
Darren.
It just. Darren, shut up.
Gingivitis, though.
I mean, it's like, it just
I'm be like,
causes
yo,
commotion.
Kim has gingivitis, everyone.
Wow.
I did not know until she told me,
Wow.
but it is actually a fact.
Wow.
All right, let's do this.
Wow, okay.
All right, what are we doing?
I like the Dwayne Waynes.
Like Dwayne Wayne. I had to pay homage, man. You know what I'm saying?
I love Dwayne.
I went to Morehouse and got inspired, man. Because, I don't know what it is about Morehouse, but Morehouse just reminds me of a different world, And I was like,
really?
I want to do something unique and different, and so I was like, I got to find some double shades, you know what I'm saying? And it worked. It worked.
A different world. So I'm here for this.
Yeah,
this
yeah.
My
well,
heart.
Thank you.
It's my heart glad. You ready, Darren?
I am ready. All right. Let me know if I need to straighten my, being there, stuff looking crazy. Looking good. Okay.
Okay. So you were supposed to say.
Okay. So where's my cutoff right here with the,
right there, like right there.
How do you see that?
I can just because I can look at the camera.
Okay. Excuse me. Oh.
What's up, guys? It's your girl Kimology, and you're tuned into Kimology because that's the name of the show today.
Hey.
Okay, I'm so excited. Is it okay?
Go ahead. You got it.
This gentleman next to me, if you are not living under a rock, okay,
only if.
If you're on TikTok, if you're on social media, if you have a pulse, you'll know who this gentleman is to my left. He is an amazing musician. He is from Kansas City, and I am a huge fan, huge follower, faithful follower of you on social media. And he's so inspiring on top of being such an amazing musician. You guys, please put your hands together for JR Saxophonic!
Oh!
JR, let me play the sax. I know how to play. Hey, JR.
Now we're gonna take this real quick, okay?
That was the audience.
But big thank you to Kim.
The audience.
The audience.
That was them.
They gonna clap.
They were saying they were clapping.
They were clapping.
You didn't hear the claps?
I actually did hear a little claps.
Okay.
I thought it was just I can be weird sometimes.
I don't know. It was just
okay.
I don't know. Maybe
they were
played too loud and now you can't hear. I don't know.
Anyway, Kim, thank you so much for having me on the show.
You're welcome.
I think you're absolutely incredible. I follow you on all your socials. You talk about being a fan. I absolutely love what you do and how consistent you are doing it. And you see me in the comments and liking, but I really appreciate what you do in your art and how you represent the city. It means a lot. And to have professionals and people who really care about the city, man. Boom. There it is. But thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here. We on the couch.
You give me my flowers. I'm emotional. I'm supposed to give you your flowers. You're not supposed to just say it's too much.
Reciprocity is real out here in these streets.
Reciprocity. How are you?
I'm doing good.
You all right?
Doing all right. Yeah.
I'm excited.
Feels like she's going to say something really important right there.
No.
Okay. This is actually an intervention.
Actually, you're hard of hearing, and we have to interview.
People come back. Okay. Like, Mama? What my mama doing here? Okay, stop.
See?
All right, we're going to have a serious interview out here. You sure?
No, you said, Mama, you
know
like
what?
That. Let me tell you something.
Mm-hmm.
You're amazing.
Thank you.
And I told you before we started the show that I tune in to your TikToks. It's my favorite thing to do.
Oh, wow.
Is to scroll. I feel like my algorithm is pretty balanced. It's, nothing too crazy. It's really all musically based. And so seeing you pop up during the lives and you're playing covers like Anita Baker, Rapture, Sweet Love. After 7, I mean, you name it, all the classical R&B songs that we know and love, you're playing it, and you play it so well.
Wow.
It's like, it's so good.
Thank you.
I really enjoy it. Like, I'm not even gassing you up.
Yeah.
Because I love jazz, first of all. I play the piano.
Yeah.
A little rusty. But I wouldn't consider myself a musician. But I do love instrumental music. And hearing people like, I don't know, you may know, Paul Hardcastle. I love him.
Yeah. I got a chance to meet
James.
him. Yeah. Yeah. Bonnie James helped me on my first
I'm
album.
sorry, wait, hold on. You met who?
So Paul Hardcastle, I met him at NAMM.
You met him?
Yeah, incredible guy. Yeah. Boom, 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 boom. That's Paul Hardcastle right there. But y'all don't even know that was him. See, look at y'all. Y'all ain't real. Y'all ain't real out here.
Is that Rainforest?
That is Rain.
I told you.
See?
This is, and my friends make fun of me all the time because when I come home or if I'm at work, especially when I'm here, I play jazz.
Yeah.
Because I'm always around people all the time, and I'm like, I don't want any words.
Yeah.
Just want the music to speak for itself. So, yeah, just seeing you on social media and being able to just see you live and not live in color, but live on TikTok is such a treat. Can you please, first of all, just give us a little bit of history of who you are, how you became a musician? Because I'm just so used to seeing you in all your glory and splendor, just you being amazing. Let us know how it started for you. Okay.
It was a dark and stormy night. My mom and my dad were like, yo, I'm just like, okay.
First of all,
let's get it on. Let me stop. Okay, anyway.
This. I'm not talking about birth.
So really the music thing started with, back in I was like fifth grade. I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. And my mom put me in violin lessons. So I started playing cello. Okay. And when you're in fifth grade, you're supposed to be in advanced band, but I was a beginner. So they put me in advanced band as a beginner on cello. And I was sitting in the class and I was like, I do not understand anything they're talking about. Like FACE, I do not know what you're talking about. I literally, I stayed in there for my mom was like, just stick it out. I stayed for 2 weeks. I came home crying. I was like, man, I cannot do this. I don't know anything about what they're doing. So I quit band. Mm-hmm. It was just a really, really crazy experience. But then 6th grade, my mom let me be in what you call beginning band. So I got to start over with everybody else who was starting out. Mm-hmm. And I started playing trumpet. Well, my music teacher noticed how quickly I picked up on just sight reading music, playing, tonality, intention behind what I'm playing. Mm-hmm. And she moved me from beginning band to advanced band. Now, real talk, I think it was because I was scared that I was going to get left behind. So I was trying to get everything I could.
Really?
Yeah, because like I said, I started out in advanced band in 5th grade and I quit. So I didn't want to lose out. And so for me, I was trying to grasp everything I could in 6th grade. And she ended up moving me from beginning band to advanced band. So I was thought I was a cool kid because I got to hang out with the 8th graders. So my whole schedule got changed. So I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. Music can do this. So that's kind of where it started, and then I started on trumpet. Okay. And the agreement between my teacher and I was if I switched from trumpet to baritone, which is kind of a larger, lower brass looking trumpet, still 3 valves. If I switched to that, then I could be in advanced band. So I was like, oh yeah, I'm in there. Don't worry about it. So I started playing the baritone. And then in high school, went on and started playing the baritone in high school, switched that to trombone. Shout out to Mr. Reginald L. May, one of the greatest band directors in the history of history can be. Okay. I'm just going to throw that out there. But got introduced to trombone, started playing trombone. From there, played the tuba, and then started taking piano lessons. Then started playing the drums a little bit. Then started playing the bass, and then all that other stuff. And the rest is history. So how did you get to the saxophone? To the saxophone, because you sound like Prince. You described every instrument almost, except for the soprano sax. I just want to know how you got there. Yeah. Really, I always had a desire to play the saxophone, even when I was playing trumpet. Mm-hmm. And so when I was playing trumpet back in my 6th grade era, I used to listen to this. It was a station called 106.5
.5
The City.
Oh,
Y'all already know.
listen.
Y'all already know. Y'all know. I know y'all sang that at home. But if you're from Kansas City and you don't know about
Oh, I
106.5,
miss it.
oh,
We were sophisticated kids.
oh my goodness.
Yeah.
But I used to listen to that as a kid, man.
Yeah.
So can you imagine a little 11-year-old?
That was me.
Like I look. Okay,
No,
so we
for
twins
real.
out here
No,
for real.
for real. It was me.
So I would look forward to coming home after school to turn on 106.5, listening to people like Kenny G, Grover Washington, listening to Kirk Whalum. And I would take my trumpet out and I would just have it. I couldn't really play with them, but I would have it just to pretend. And I'd be like, one day I'm gonna play with them. You know, like that was kind of what I was on. And Grover Washington was the guy who did it for me. You know, and so I would listen to him and just be inspired. And I remember I was just starting out. And my grandpa at the time, he lived with us. And so he'd be out on the patio and I'd go practice out on the patio every day. And I had my trumpet and my mom, she was just like, boy, just stop. Cause I was cracking every note, so I ain't mad. You're a parent. I was just cracking every note. Trying to play,
Oh, God.
My grandpa sitting there and he's like, don't tell him to be quiet. He's like, one day y'all gonna have to pay to see him. And I will never forget that.
Oh my God.
And that was just an impactful moment. So thank you, grandfather, for seeing something that I didn't even see of myself, but it empowered me to go further. So yeah. Then finally, how did I get to the saxophone? All of those guys who were inspiring me on 106.5 were sax players, really. So I was just imitating the sax player. And I remember in high school, I'm gonna try to make it short, but I remember, make a long story longer. But I remember in high school wanting to switch over to saxophone, and I was such a solid player. I was a solid low brass player. I mean, I was playing Carnival of Venice on the baritone, which is like really high level, 64th note, 32nd note type solo. And I told my band, I was like, man, I want to play saxophone. And he was like, man, you ain't playing no saxophone. And I was disappointed. Well, I mean, my heart dropped because I just always felt a connection to the saxophone. And he was like, that's like taking Kobe and putting him in Shaq's position.
See.
And I quoted you, Mr. May. Ain't that right? Don't say yes under the comments. But anyway, but so that didn't happen. So what I did was I snuck. Okay, this is how I started playing saxophone. I snuck because I was like, I can play all these different instruments. I'm going to teach saxophone players how to play my instrument. So I taught a saxophone player how to play a tuba at the time. He wanted to be able to blow so he could impress the ladies, because in the marching band season, the tuba players, they're impressed. They're like, oh, you got that big old, and you playing that? So I'd be like, hey, bro, you want to play tuba? I got you, bro, because I played the tuba.
Yeah.
So I was like, but you got to let me borrow your horn after school, you know? So that was the deal. So I snuck his saxophone and started playing it. And my parents were like, where you get a saxophone from? I was like, I'm just borrowing it. I'm teaching somebody lessons. So I'm in high school, trying to figure it out. So that's really where it started. Then in college, I picked up my first saxophone, So it was like I was 18 picking it up. So
oh my God.
Yeah.
And you just been going ever since.
Been going ever since. Yeah.
Oh my God. Let me tell you something. I was on one of your sites and I saw a quote from you. And it really it's a whole bar. It says, music made me feel alive. It was like my magic trick. I could captivate a whole crowd with just a few notes. It was then I knew that I didn't have to be the best saxophonist. Am I saying it right?
Yeah.
Okay,
right.
I feel like
Saxophonist.
I didn't have to be the best saxophonist. I just had to be your favorite.
Yeah, that's real.
What?
That's real. Cause think about it. Like,
I love that.
Yeah, because and the reason I say that is like, growing up, I was a second child. So a lot of times, second child, we don't exist.
Oh, you're the middle.
Yeah, so it's like one thing that I could do was music, and so like that was kind of my escape. But the other side of it was in learning that think about like when you come to a family reunion, right? So I'm switching gears.
Okay.
But when you come to a family reunion. Who you looking for? You looking for your cousin, your favorite cousin, right? You looking for the one that we not gonna talk about it in front of all of y'all, but we gonna talk about it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's your favorite person to be around, right?
Yeah.
So like you can be like the best, technically at something, But to be someone's favorite means that they're going to give you preferential treatment every time.
Yeah.
And so like I didn't really set out to be the best saxophone player in the sense of like technical and all that stuff. I just wanted to be your favorite, which meant that when you had a choice between me and someone else, you're like, yo, I'm going with my favorite because you know what I'm saying.
Right.
The vibe's going to be right. The communication's going to be right. You know, everything's going to be good because that's my favorite. When he pull up, it's going to be a good time. You know what I'm saying? And so like that was my goal, and my idea was not to be technically the most technically skilled, which I do take pride in being skilled as a musician. However, I just want to be somebody that you can deal with. You know what I'm saying? You ever been in a room with somebody like I got to get up out of here. Vibe is not vibing, man. We got to get up out of here. No, nuh-uh. Yeah. So that was the goal, to become a household name and be a favorite.
How do you think that you stick out from other saxophone players?
Yeah.
Like what makes your style, or what makes you different? Your style, first of all, and then what makes you feel like as a musician, just as a person, that makes you stick out and like makes people just gravitate to you.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of different things, but I think number one, my origin comes from the church. I think like a lot of us Black musicians, just a lot of musicians in general, we have our origins in the church, you know what I'm saying? So I grew up singing in the Sunshine Band. My mom was the choir director. My dad was a guitar player. And so I was tugging his amp behind him as he played every Sunday. And so like, I think a lot of mine is the soulfulness of the church, you know? And a lot of times you won't find that in music. You'll hear music, but you won't feel the music. You know what I'm saying? And I think that I'm able to clearly articulate and communicate in a way that you not only hear me, but you can actually feel me.
Yeah.
And I think that's one thing that's different. I think the other thing that's different is my approach with the saxophone is a little different from most saxophone players. And I think it's because I was self-taught. And so like, I think the way that I think about music is very lyrical. And so when I approach singing or playing, I approach it as a singer. And so I think about, okay, how would Anita Baker sing this?
Yeah.
You know, how would Al Jarreau sing this? You know what I'm saying? How would Stevie Wonder sing this? You know what I'm saying? And I would try to duplicate them verbatim, you know? And so like, I think for me, that is a difference when you talk about stylistically. Yeah. I think that's what it was. And also, I'm a kind of guy, I want to play what makes me feel good. You know, like a lot of people, they play different things. I'm not going to say specifically, 'cause I don't want to create no beef. You know what I'm saying? I love everybody. Don't come for me. All right? But for me, I wanted to play things that I identified with, you know? And so like I would play a lot of pop tunes. I play a lot of things that were fairly new. And I think what changed the game for me was I saw a guy named Brian Culbertson, and he's a smooth jazz piano player. Okay. And this was during the pandemic, 2020. I don't know, this might go to another question you may ask later, but during the pandemic, we were all quarantined, you know, or I call it pandemicking.
Lord,
you know what I'm saying?
have mercy.
Yeah.
Lord.
And so as we were pandemicking, I saw Brian Culbertson on piano. And he went live on Facebook, and he just had the dopest live. Like, I mean, he had multiple camera angles. He had, the audio was just perfection, you know, and he was just having a great time and entertaining people. And that was always something I was like, man, that is so unique. I'd never seen anybody do that before. And TikTok at this time was just kind of becoming what it was, right? And I was like, bro, if I can do what he is doing on TikTok, man, I know I could just literally shut the game down in the sense of like live performance, you know, on live, and also exposure for me. Because like at that time I was getting maybe like 12 gigs a year. You know what I'm saying? It was slow. You know what I'm saying? Like things were slow for me. And probably by the end of that year, I was probably getting like at least 12 gigs a month, you know? Wow. So it literally changed everything. So I think the thing that made me unique is my ability to connect with people. Yeah. The ability to relate to people. And I think a lot of that comes from, you know, I'm a kind of guy who who thinks about the past. So like Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood.
Yes.
You know, I know you mentioned that earlier off camera, but
Yeah.
Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, that's one of my favorite people.
I love Mr.
And his backstory is even more incredible because he was a minister and he was going to go out and have his own church and all that. But the guy actually commissioned him to continue to do children's television because he said that was his pulpit.
Yeah.
And so instead of him going into ministry with a church, he actually just made his ministry his work and the things that he did in front of the camera for kids. And then he would go on to represent the Supreme Court and fight for children's education and all that. Because he said he hated the way that that children were treated and represented in television. And he changed it. He acknowledged them. He said, hey, how you doing today? How are things going? So what did I do? So bring it back, JR. So I took that same kind of approach. I wanted, when you watch me, I want you to feel like we're literally sitting across from each other.
Yeah.
And so when I approached my live and went live for the first time, I said, I'm going to talk just like my favorite person is across from me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it worked really well. I think people really identified with that, and I have created an incredible community of supporters and people all over the world who just continue to show love and positivity. They've encouraged me, I've encouraged them, and it's been a great ride. So.
You have met a lot of people.
Yeah.
Just recently, over the past few months. Can you just share with us the people that you've ran into? Over, just...
I met a few people. Kimology. Kim in the building. I met Kim, you know what I'm saying? We out here, you know what I'm saying?
Other than me.
Okay. I've had the pleasure of meeting, I've met Tyler Perry. He invited me to his studio. And
how did that come
happen?
about?
Yeah, so I'm a part of a group called We the Culture. Shout out to We the Culture, man. Yes, We the Culture. It's on the back of it's back there somewhere. But We the Culture was a subdivision of Meta, which is Facebook, Instagram, and Threads. And so I got selected to be a part of their Black Creative Program. And so they would put out opportunities, say, hey, there's an opportunity for this, there's an opportunity for that. And so there was an opportunity where Kerry Washington was going to be in Atlanta doing a book release. And so I was like, I definitely want to go to that because Tyler Perry is hosting it. My goal, so I had like goals written down, was to meet Tyler Perry, and still other parts of that goal, not quite there yet, but we're going to get there.
Yeah.
But my goal was to meet Tyler Perry. And because he was hosting it, I was like, maybe there's an opportunity. So I went to the Kerry Washington meet and greet. And I spoke to Kerry Washington, talked to her, and then they were like, oh, Tyler Perry's not going to come out. And I was like, oh, man. I was like, well, I tried, Yeah. And even I blogged it. I said, one day I'm going to meet Tyler Perry. We're going to make it happen. But what was crazy is Kerry Washington actually, when I went up to her, she was like, oh, my God. She was like, JR. I was like, you do not know me. And then, and so she was like, you're literally my favorite saxophonist. And so my God. I was like, what? That was like,
that's
I was like, what?
Crazy.
And so like that was kind of a surreal moment. And then she said, well, you're my second favorite saxophonist. She was like, because my husband plays saxophone. I was like, all right, I'll let that slide. You know what I'm saying? But keep saying that. Keep talking to me like that.
Right.
So from there, I'm very strategic. I'm be real. So I found some archives of a black filmmaker, and he was the first black filmmaker to ever produce a major movie, and he's well known. His name is slipping my mind right now, so I'm kind of embarrassed. But okay. I have photos of him, Gordon Parks.
Oh, okay.
But I have photos of him producing this major Hollywood movie in Kansas. And so I took those photos. I was going to give them to Tyler Perry, and it didn't happen. You know what I'm saying? So I was kind of like bummed. But they said sometimes he comes out on the side of this venue. So I was like, I'm going to go on the side. So I went on the side. Kerry Washington sees me again. She walks past her not limo, but her car. And she comes to me. She's like, what are you doing out here still? Because like this was like everybody else kind of like get a chance to meet her and things. And I was like, well, I was trying to get these to Tyler Perry, but it just didn't happen.
Yeah.
And then I was like, so can I give them to you? And I told her the history and all that stuff. So I gave her the history. She took them, And then I got a call. I went back to my hotel, kind of disappointed. I got a call from Carrie's manager, and she said, "Hey, we went ahead and sent those to Tyler Perry." So that's literally how it happened. And so
What?
my manager at Meta said, "Javelle, like, I don't know what you did, but you're invited to Tyler Perry Studios." So that's literally how it happened. So it was just like, me kind of right place, right time, but also being strategic about, what my goal was.
Yeah.
So you can see a little bit inside of how I think, I guess.
That is so.
Yeah.
Who else? Can we just discuss who else you?
Okay, so yeah, I met let's see, I met Paul Taylor. Shout out to Julian Vine, one of the first guys to give me a big stage, and let me play on the grand stage, man. An incredible Billboard artist from Kansas City.
Yep.
Guys, sometimes you forget, you meet so many people.
I know. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Let me see. I've collaborated with people like Los Leos. That was my first deal with Universal Music. Coco Jones has done some stuff with me where she's like reposted some of my videos and duetted some stuff. I'm trying to think. Gosh, it's so many. In person, I just met Stevie Wonder. That was crazy.
I saw that.
Yeah, so Stevie Wonder was surreal.
How was that?
That was surreal, man. Cause like Stevie Wonder is like you think about music, and I don't think people really understand the impact that he's made in music.
Yeah.
Because of just his discography
it's crazy.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah.
And even his credits, and so like.
Cause he plays other instruments other than the piano as well.
Yeah, he plays like harmonica. He plays.
There's this thing.
Yeah, it's like a switchboard with a touch, and it's like a synth type board. I don't know exactly the name of it, but he's an incredible musician as well as artist.
Yeah,
and he's literally mentored everybody from Michael Jackson to Smokey Robinson, and he's been a part of that whole Motown thing, and so like to even have him stop and take a picture with me was incredible.
Did he know who you were?
No, not at all. No,
Okay.
I mean, I was just playing.
Okay.
And like, I guess he heard and he told me to come here. And
so
so
you were
like,
playing. You played.
Yeah.
With Stevie in the.
So I was just playing because I was at NAMM, which is like the National Association of Music Merchants, and I was just there playing. And I don't know if it was his manager or whoever. I don't know if he brought me to his attention or what, but I was like, just like playing or whatever, and then he stops and says, "Hey, come here," and then like I was like, "Hey, Steve, may I take a picture with you?" And he's like, "Yeah." So he literally stops everything he's doing, and we got to just take a picture. And I was just like, "Thank you so much." Like that was surreal, because like, and when you're in moments like that, you don't think about all the things you could ask or say and all that stuff. But like I was just grateful that I got to take that moment with Stevie Wonder because of just who he is, and the impact that he has made in my life in music. I think that in and of itself, to be able to meet these almost ethereal people who are like, they're bigger than time, they're bigger than the moment, to meet somebody like that is just incredible. I did lose my mind afterward. I was like, like, I ain't gonna lie.
Stevie the Wonder.
Yeah, he's an incredible guy, man.
Well, so. Is it safe to say that the pandemic was kind of like the launch pad of all of this?
Yeah, I would say so. I also don't want to shortchange, because I want people to know that what musicians and creatives do is hard work. It's not like an overnight vibe, right? So it's like, years and years and years of playing and not getting the calls and not getting the opportunities and being seemingly overlooked, right? Yeah. So like I think all of us can kind of identify with that, where we feel like, man, I'm working my butt off, but it doesn't seem like it's paying off.
It's so hard to see that part of the journey.
Yeah.
Because we see you and you're like, oh, it's like everything just happened so fast for you, but not knowing that there's this whole journey, this whole side that we don't see.
That's real. Yeah.
And so I have said this before, but I am inspired by your consistency.
Wow.
Because the pandemic, I don't even remember. I don't think we've ever met in person.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was like, who is this guy? Like, oh, he's from here? Mm-hmm. What the heck? Oh my God, that's Jarvis's brother?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my God. And so I made the connection, and then just seeing your consistency from the pandemic, because that was my introduction to you.
Wow. Yeah.
And to see the consistency since then, like you have not stopped.
Yeah. Foot on the gas.
It, like no breaks. Like every time I got on social media, I saw you.
Yeah. One thing about me, my work ethic is crazy.
Baby, mine ain't like that.
I'm telling you, my work ethic is crazy. Like,
yeah.
you know, I've always been kind of wired that way to where I will, you know, if you put me in a room with whomever, I'm going to figure out a way to outwork everybody in that room. And it's not like a competition thing, but it's more so an internal thing that works within me, because I'm like, I can be better than I am right now. You know, I can be greater than what I am right now. And so that drives me to push and to stay consistent.
Yeah.
And I've also had great mentors. You know, I've had people who have shared insight with me about not being lazy. You know, people like Mr. Leon Brady, who just passed away. People like Reginald L. May, who was my band director. People like Kirk Whalum, who's come in my life and kind of mentored me. People like Merlin Devine, who've helped me, who kind of been there, done that. So it's always a blessing to have people who have kind of been there and done that in your corner to say, stay consistent, keep pushing, don't give up. You're going to do this. You're going to make it, you know? And I think also my motivating factor was my children, you know?
I was going to say, I remember you posting about your daughter.
Yeah. So I think that's the reason why I was most consistent. So.
Yeah. And I know that was part of the reason why I gravitated to just being a follower, because I saw that time in your life and that story that you shared with us, and being able to see someone beyond the music and just seeing their vulnerability and their transparency is so, it's like it brings everything together. It makes you appreciate them and look up to them a lot more as a musician, because I mean that I'm sure was a very tough time. Yeah,
if I'm being real, that was probably and that's what I want to talk about. I mean, or mention is like, at that place in 2020, so I'm playing on TikTok. I mean, this is before the virality and all that stuff. I'm getting like, 50 views, if that, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh, okay, you know what I'm saying? There were a group of guys who were encouraging me. Shout out to the Seeing Comedy, Big Cam I Am, This Funny Guy Rob, Pastor O, man. You guys have helped me so much. But they are the ones who encouraged me. And in November, my daughter was rushed to the hospital, November 2020, because she was having pain in her side. And this is the time we're all in the house. And I remember going to the hospital locally, and they saying, there's nothing we can do. She's bleeding internally. And I'm like, what? And Children's Mercy here in Kansas City came all the way to Manhattan, where I live. And they drove her from Manhattan to Kansas City. It's like 1 o'clock at night. I'll never forget that night, because we were riding behind the ambulance, just praying, like my wife and I, just praying about like what are we gonna do? What can we do? And we have 3 other children who were all experiencing this in real time. And I just remember saying, God, I don't know what to do, but I'm gonna trust you. And they took her to the hospital. They did tests and months of tests. And they finally called us like 2 months later. I remember it was inauguration day. And the doctor said, your daughter has cancer. And I was just like, I remember my response was so stupid. I was like, it's election day.
See, get out the hospital.
I was like, it's election day. Why you gonna call and tell me it's on election? I don't know what I was thinking.
Is that
but
such a dad reaction? Dads are so...
I was like, I don't know what the heck I was thinking.
The coping of it all is so opposite.
My coping was terrible. That's why I play saxophone, by the way. God, dog, bro. But I remember hearing that news and just being devastated. And thinking like, what do I do? And literally she had 2 rounds of chemo, because they were like, we got to start immediately. She had 2 rounds of chemo, and I got a call from TikTok. That was my first call, first email, first anything from TikTok. And they were like, you were chosen to be a part of TikTok for Black Creators program. It's the first time we've ever done this. It's in partnership with Stay Macro. And it was literally the day my daughter's hair was falling out, and I decided to shave my head with her. And so like we were shaving our heads, and TikTok called me and said, hey, we want you to be a part of our program. Changed my life. So shout out to Charles D. King. I love you, bro. You've changed my life. And Charles D. King is the founder of Stay Macro. And if you ever want to know anything about Stay Macro, if you've ever seen Judas and the Black Messiah, if you've ever seen They Clone Tyrone, if you've ever seen
Yeah.
Keke Palmer's new movie, gosh, what's the name of that movie right now?
Child, I saw it.
But the new Keke Palmer
Yes,
movie,
that one.
Stay Macro helped produce all of those,
Shut
and they're the reason why Black Panther, the original Black Panther, was finished and complete. Charles D. King had a hand in that.
Oh my
So
God.
so yeah, him and Ryan Coogler are like best friends. So
Okay.
so anyway, but he's the one who selected me to be a part of the Black Creators Program.
Oh wow.
And he invested money in us, and it was a 6-month incubator program to help us to understand what it means to be a content creator, what it means to create sustainability. In that program, also more celebrities I met was through that program. I met Charlamagne the God.
Okay.
I met Gabrielle Union. Met Common. And they all spoke different pieces into my life that allowed me to make decisions and to grow. Common talked about how he walked away from Coca-Cola commercial because it was too many stereotypes and too many things that he just disagreed with.
Yeah.
And he said he walked away from a pretty significant amount of money,
Right.
only to be called back a few months later and to be offered even more substantial amount of money, and then being allowed to co-direct that commercial.
Oh my God.
So, it really taught me the value of my no.
Yeah.
And the value of, my yes.
Right.
and so that was a really, really incredible time in my life. That was like 2021. And so I would literally make a video because we had homework to do. I'd make a video in the we stayed right behind Children's Mercy Hospital at that hotel there. I don't want to say the hotel's name, but shout out to them. They really took care of us. But they set up a whole room for me because they knew I was a content creator, and I came there every other week. And so I had assignments, and so they would set up a conference room for me, and I would make my videos, and then go upstairs and spend time with my daughter and my family, and then go right back down, and then we do that every other week for 25 weeks. And that was my life, yeah. And so and the other part I didn't mention was you talked about the consistency. The real reason why I stayed so consistent was because I was at the point when you see your child suffering or not like you thought they were going to be.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You're like, man, God, what can I do? Like, I would give anything for my daughter to just be fine.
Yeah.
I was at that point where I said, you know what? I've been playing for long enough. And I looked at my horns. I said, I can get about $2,500 for that one. I can get about $5,000 for that one. I can get about $2,000 for that one.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm just gonna sell these saxophones to pay for her chemotherapy. And literally, it was maybe a few minutes after I had that thought, my daughter walks in the room, and I said, I love you, Layla. And then she said, Daddy, she said, when you play the saxophone, it makes me feel normal.
No.
So I'm at this place, you know what I'm saying? Can you imagine? Exactly.
Oh my God.
So I'm at this place where I'm literally giving up music. And my daughter says the thing that I'm about to give up is the only thing that makes her feel normal.
She's like, actually.
Yeah, I'm trying to be a daddy. I'm trying to provide, make sure you're good, you know what I'm saying?
Oh my God.
And that really shifted my thoughts about music. So I was like, okay, if this saxophone is the thing that makes you feel normal, then I'm going to make a video for you every single day. And that's what I did. And that's why I was so consistent. That's the real truth for why I was so consistent. And so I slid in front of the camera and I would smile every video.
Yep.
And then I would play my butt off.
Yeah.
And then I would slide off for 30 seconds. And some days I would slide off and cry because I was like, bro, this is too much. But at the same time, I recognized that it made my baby happy. You know what I'm saying?
My God.
And if I could provide just that to her, then we would be all right. We ended up raising, we did a GoFundMe, and we ended up raising well over the amount to pay for her chemo and some. And it's crazy. We didn't get that money until way after, but it helped to pay for her chemo and some. But I got within 5 weeks of being in the Stay Macro program, I got a call from Pepsi. And they said, Javelle, we want to select you. We've selected you as one of Rockstar Energy's Summer Spotlight artists. And that means that there's a brand deal associated with that. So I'll tell the number, it was a $10,000 brand deal. And that was my first brand deal. $10,000. Can you? And I don't mind sharing numbers.
Pepsi.
Yeah, it was Rockstar Energy drink, but it's owned by Pepsi.
Yeah.
And so that was my first brand deal. And that was incredible. And that's when I was like, whoa, this is real.
Yeah,
like,
this is really something.
And I'm just like, God, I was about to sell my instruments. I was about to walk away from this thing
my God.
that literally was going to open up so many other doors.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so, like, for me, it's just a testament to, I think the encouragement is to the creators who feel like they're about to give up or who are about to throw in the towel. You could be right on the cusp of, like, literally breaking the ground that just changes your life forever. And I think that's a lesson learned, you know, to persevere and to stay consistent, even when no one else may seem like no one else believes in you, to continue to push forward, and you're gonna see fruit from it, you know. So
this is why you're my favorite. This is
I don't know
why.
about that.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
I don't
really
know
do.
any other. I don't know any other. Oh my God, this is why, and I it's so crazy that, because I was trying to figure out, I promise you, like, where did I meet JR? And this is my first time meeting you.
Yeah.
But it's like being introduced to you. I know for sure it was during the pandemic for me.
Yeah.
We were locked up.
We were definitely locked up.
Yeah, we didn't have nothing else to do.
Yeah.
But being introduced to you and seeing your story with your daughter.
Yeah.
That had me, like, your consistency even in that.
Yeah.
Seeing you smile.
Yeah.
Seeing you be present and still do what you love.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't know the backstory until now.
Yeah,
I had no idea.
Yeah. And that $10,000.
Okay.
Paid for the chemotherapy.
All right.
So I didn't really get to see that. So don't be trying to be like, hey, let me hold some. No, that $10,000 went to chemotherapy.
Straight to the baby.
So that was on time. But it was on
Yes.
time for the moment. You know?
To see your vulnerability and to see your consistency is very inspiring, and it has lured me in as a follower because of seeing your heart and just being a great musician.
Thank you.
Like, you're amazing.
Thank you.
And so thank you so much for just being brave. And, like, I'm trying not to cry because that's like, you just never know what people are dealing with.
That's a fact.
Like, it's so, social media is bittersweet, man.
It is.
You see one side.
You only see one side.
Because some people don't want to see, we saw the hardship, but some people, you weren't going to get on there crying. You know what I mean?
And
it's okay if you were, but some people, they have a boundary. Like, all right, I ain't going to let you see me break down.
And I think part of it was I wanted to, be that strength for my children and for my family, right? Because, like, we're all going through it at the same time, you know what I'm saying? Wifey, the kids, we're all feeling it. So, like, if I'm falling apart, guess who else is falling apart?
Everybody
so
else.
It's like I had to make sure in that moment that I was solid for them, and so, like, for me, that was my choice. However, in later days, I would break down and cry and figure out how to navigate through things and go through therapy and navigate through things, because it's important. Mental health is very important. I think it's not emphasized enough. So I'm a big advocate for mental health.
So am I. And I mean, just seeing you persevere through those moments, like, is amazing. And it's so, so, so inspiring, which is why I wanted you on the show, because I was like, he's so great. And like you said, you wanted to get on the live, make videos as if we're in the same room with you. And that's how I would feel. I'm like, man, he's playing while I'm cleaning up JR.
Yeah, we be doing life together out here. I like to do life with people, man. And I've I think that's the blessing, is, like, building a community, and that's really what it was all about. So I saw, I saw Brian Culberson. I said I want to do that on TikTok. I figured out how to go live on TikTok and get my music correct and all that stuff. And when I did that, I started to create a real community, and that real community, they came and supported. They heard our story. They were just absolutely incredible. And I think building a space, that's all I want to do. I wanted to build a space where people could come, let down their hair, unwind, not be stressed, but just have a good environment. And so, like, that's how it all started. Like, I wanted to create a space like that. And, I just really believe that what you put out, you get back. And so I've been very fortunate to have a community that supports me, you know, and that's manifested through shows. You know, I've had, you know, in the past 3 years, every show that I've done in the past 3 years has sold out. And I don't attribute that just to me. I attribute that to the community that we've built.
Absolutely.
Shout out to the Sax Fanatics in the building. There you go. Hey. But the tribe, man, they are incredible. And they literally have carried me through a lot, and vice versa. I'm grateful to be there for them. So yeah.
Well, you're amazing.
Thank you. You're amazing. This girl's amazing, bro. You got a whole show out here. Look at this mic. Don't go up there, but it's the whole. You got to see the set out here. It's crazy.
It's nice. It's nice.
It's nice. It is.
Can you tell us?
We got nice stuff over here.
Well, you know, I do all right.
Pillow with the fur out here. You know, the purple with the purple.
See, you showing all the pillows. I told you I got a lot of pillows. I got like 12 of them.
Mustard.
Oh!
Anyway.
You have no sense.
I don't have sense.
And neither do I.
That's
so
good.
This is why this is great. Can you tell us where to follow you on social media?
Yeah, so on all social media, you can follow me, JR Saxophonic. It's just JR Saxophonic, because a lot of people put aphonic. It's Saxophonic.
Yes.
But yeah, follow me on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, everywhere you can watch a video. I'm there, more than likely. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Well, thank you so much for being
Thank
here.
you. Thank you, Kim.
No, don't do
This is so dope. Welcome to the JR Show. I'm interviewing Kim today out here in these streets. She is such a wonderful guest, y'all. Just so talented here in Kansas City. Nah, man, I'm grateful. Thank you so much. I'm gonna hug you.
It was nice to meet you.
Glad to be here, man.
Yes.
Good time. So
thanks, guys, for watching, and keep blooming. Yay!
Thank you.
Thank you, JR.
For sure.
Okay.